Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, depending where you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to our webinar where we'll give you an overview of Workflow Builder and how you can use it to automate your everyday work in Slack. Let's start with some introductions. My name is Olivia Watkins and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a content strategist for the Slack Help Center, which means it's my job to explain how all aspects of Slack work to our customers. I've been working with the Workflow Builder team closely for the past year and a half since we launched, and I'm excited to walk you all through how to use this great tool and how you can add workflows into everything you're already doing in Slack.
Hi, my name is Marie Wilkerson, pronouns she, her, and I'm a customer success manager based in New York. I spend most of my time working with great companies like IBM on strategies for adopting Slack, as well as leveraging features like Workflow Builder to increase the value they get from the platform.
Here's a quick breakdown of how we'll spend our time for the next 20 or so minutes. I'll provide an overview of the Workflow Builder tool in Slack and how to access it. We'll define what a workflow is, plus go through some processes that may be part of your daily work that you can automate with Workflow Builder. Then Marie will walk you through the components available for creating workflows of your own and showcase a couple of stories from current Slack customers about how they're using Workflow Builder. Lastly, we will do a live demo together and build a workflow, and hopefully that will spark your inspiration to make your own after the event. But first, let's set some context about Workflow Builder. While there are many reasons you choose to do work in Slack, a big one is likely that having your work and related conversations in Slack channels helps you stay organized. When you combine teamwork and channels with workflow automation, you can make Slack even more powerful. With Workflow Builder, you can automate your team's existing tasks and processes into workflows without writing a single line of code. Essentially, workflow automation helps you unlock more value from the processes and tools you already use. This, in turn, can simplify coordination and communication across the channels where your team gets things done in Slack. This probably sounds pretty familiar to many of you. I know I spend a good chunk of time each workday tracking information down, following up on requests my team needs to field, and the list goes on. First and foremost, Workflow Builder saves you time as you streamline daily tasks in Slack. You can automate things like recurring reminders, sending messages, request intake, and even the process of getting new employees up to speed. Second, workflow automation reduces back and forth by standardizing processes. This allows your team to set expectations around requests by automatically communicating next steps and timelines through Slack messages, or collect the information you need right up front. Finally, workflow automation helps you customize Slack by creating workflows that are unique to your team and the tools you use. These benefits all tie together, enabling teams to get the right people, the right information at the right time. So you and your team can spend less time on coordination and more time on important work. Let's welcoming a new hire to your team as an example. You can set up a workflow to kick off after a particular event. In Workflow Builder, we call this a trigger. There are a number of workflow triggers to choose from. Once a workflow has been triggered, you can add steps to determine what happens next. Perhaps you want to send a message or display a form to the person who kicked off the workflow to collect information from them. Marie will go into more detail about all of the triggers and steps available in just a bit. We've hinted at a formal definition of a Slack workflow, but you're probably wondering how to best explain what one is to your team. Simply, a workflow is a custom sequence of steps that can be triggered in Slack to run automatically. It's any process your team uses, automated right in Slack where you're already doing work. Before we go any further, I want to make sure you all know how to access Workflow Builder. Workflow Builder is available to any Slack customer on a paid plan. You can open Workflow Builder and create workflows from the Slack desktop app or Slack in a browser. The recommended way to open the tool is by clicking on your workspace name in the top left corner of Slack, select Tools from the drop-down menu, then click Workflow Builder, and you're in. While you can't create workflows from the Slack iOS or Android apps, anyone can launch and use workflows from Slack desktop app, Slack in a browser, or the mobile apps. Once you've opened Workflow Builder, you can get right to work setting up your own workflow. Any workflows you create or have permission to collaborate on will be listed on the Your Workflows tab. Or you can start with a template if you'd like. Click on the Templates tab to browse common workflows and choose one to customize to use with your team. For now, we'll stay focused on how to build your own workflow rather than work off a template, but know that they're always there for you if you want to take a look. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Marie to walk you through everything you need to know about workflow triggers and steps.
In terms of the mechanics, all workflows are set up to kick off after a particular event that we call a trigger. Triggers include events like a person joining a channel, reacting to a message with a specific emoji, or clicking the shortcuts button to the left of the message input field in any Slack channel. You can also set up triggers that are based on time of day or events fired off from other services through a webhook. Once a workflow has been kicked off, you decide what happens next by adding steps. Whether that's sending messages or using forms to capture more information, it's helpful to keep the flow of triggers and steps in mind as you're building. Personally, I like to sketch out my workflows on a piece of paper before I even set them up in Slack. That way, I don't miss translating any important parts of the process that I'm automating. You might want to use a workflow to run a daily stand-up, report status to the team, collect information after a customer phone call, or thinking back to our earlier example, to welcome new employees on board. Plus, developers can now add custom steps to their Slack apps, and when those apps are installed in your workspace, your Workflow Builder step library transforms. Steps from apps allow you to create workflows that connect your existing tools, extending workflows beyond channels in your workspace. But don't take my word for it. Let's see how workflows have been used by other Slack customers. Let's take Noom, for example. Noom's HR team built a workflow that helped them achieve 100% engagement with their new hires. It's a self-paced content drip sent by Workflow Builder to new hires before their first day. This gets them oriented and ready to dive right in. It's initiated by the new channel member join trigger and sends a series of messages that advance only when the new hire is ready and clicks the button to advance to the next phase of content. We also want to showcase an example used by our very own sales team here at Slack. We have a designated channel called Sales Success Exec Requests, where members of the channel can use a workflow for requesting executive attendees at customer meetings. This workflow standardizes the process, collects all required information up front, helps salespeople request the resources they need, and enables executives to make speedy decisions about the request. This workflow is triggered by someone clicking on the shortcut menu, which then prompts the user to fill out all of the required form fields to complete their request. With a few tweaks, this workflow could easily be repurposed for similar use cases across multiple departments. And with this example in mind, Olivia will now walk you through how to build something similar.
All right. Hi, everyone. Let's get right into building our demo workflow together. So the first thing we are going to do is click on our workspace name in the top left. This is just a test workspace of mine. Click Tools and select Workflow Builder from the menu. If you have created any workflows before, you'll be taken right to the Your Workflows tab. If you have never created a workflow, we will drop you into the Templates tab, and those are pre-built workflows that you can customize for your team in a few clicks. If you haven't checked those out, I definitely recommend it. And then if you are a workspace owner or workspace admin, you'll see a third tab called All Published Workflows, where you can view other workflows in your workspace. But for our purposes, we are going to create a workflow from scratch. So I will click the Create button in the top right corner. The first thing we will do is give our workflow a name. I'm actually recreating a workflow with you all that my team uses to review new content for the Slack Help Center. So we will call it Help Center Content Review. Please forgive my typos. And click Next. The first important decision we make about our workflow is that we need to choose a trigger. So in this case, people on my team have content to review all the time, and it's easiest for them just to be able to select the workflow from the shortcuts menu to the left of the message field in our content team channel whenever they have something that needs review. So we will pick the shortcuts menu trigger. Next important thing to do is choose the channel for this workflow. We will pick content team, and then add a short name. The short name is what shows up in the shortcuts menu. In this case, we feel pretty confident that people in the content team channel know what content review will mean, and we will select that and click Next. Now that we've done our basic setup, we've chosen a trigger, we've put the workflow in the right channel, we are going to add a step. And the first thing we're going to do in this workflow is present the person who kicked it off with a form. And in this form, we will collect some information from them. We can just call it HC content. That is fine. And we are going to ask them for the article title, obviously relevant. We will ask them for a summary of their changes. This one I'll actually make a long answer so they have a bit more space to fill out any context or information we all need. We're going to ask them for a link to their doc, important so we can actually review. And then finally, we're going to ask for a deadline. And then if you have any optional fields in your form, you can just uncheck the Make This Required box, and people won't have to submit that in order to send the form. And then the last thing you would do here is send your submitted form responses somewhere. You could send them to a channel, you could send them to someone in a direct message, kind of depending on the nature of the form and what people need to do with it. In this case, we are actually not going to send the form responses anywhere, and this will make sense in just a sec. So let's save our step. And then now we're going to add a message step. So in this message, which we are going to post to the content team channel, I will select, we're actually going to use variables to include information submitted in the form in the message. And the great thing about Workflow Builder is that once your workflow has had at least one step and people have submitted information via that step, you can then reference that information in subsequent steps so that you can always be tying the steps of your workflow together in ways that make sense for you. So here we are going to post the article title. We will insert a variable for the article title form submission. We are going to post the due date. So I will choose the due date option. And then lastly, we're going to let people in the channel know who needs review. And so in this case, we could choose either a person who clicked the content review workflow in the menu or the person who submitted the form. They're the same person in this case. So person who clicked content review workflow. The other thing that's really handy about Workflow Builder is that as you are putting information into a step, you can preview it right at the bottom of the modal, make sure all of your formatting looks right. And then you'll also notice, going back up really quick, that all the text formatting options, bullet points, hyperlinking, code blocks, etc., that you can use for Slack messages you're sending yourself are also available in Workflow Builder. So we will save our step. And then if you caught this, good catch, we didn't actually include every form field in our first message step. So my team reviews quite a bit of content on a weekly basis, and we try to keep our review channel kind of as clean and organized as possible so it's easy to scan and see what still needs attention. So in this case, we're going to add a second message step, and we will actually put this message in the thread off of the original message. And in this threaded message, we're going to include the summary of the changes. We'll add another variable, and we'll add a, make this bold, link to doc. And then we'll put in that variable as well. And this is so that this information is readily available, really easy to get to from the thread, but isn't posted and make the message in the original channel longer. So click save. And then the last thing we're going to do, actually just bear with me for 1 second while I grab this copy from myself. Doing a little bit of cheating here. 1 second. I'm actually just going to copy this really fast. So we are going to add a final step. We'll do another message, and we will put this in the thread as well. And once my team has made changes to their drafted content from our review, we actually put it into our Help Center content management system, and so we can preview it and make sure everything looks good. And we always get a final set of eyes on that from someone on the team, just to make sure we're not publishing anything to the live Help Center that looks super weird. So here, I'm just going to copy the text I grabbed from my DM. And say, use this template to send a message back to the channel when your stage draft is ready. So this is just a handy template that the person who's working on the content can fill out. I threw some emoji in here just to give it some visual spice. And if you wanted to add in your own emoji, any that are in your workspace are available in Workflow Builder. You could always just type the shortcode, as you're probably familiar with. But if you paste, that works as well. So make sure everything looks all right. We will click save. And that is all the steps in our workflow. So before we publish it, I am just going to quickly open the settings tab. From the settings tab, if you wanted to change the title of your workflow, you can do that. If you want to add a custom icon that will be displayed alongside messages, your workflow posts and channel, you can do that as well. Otherwise, you'll just have the standard sort of Slack icon here. And then the other thing you can do is actually add collaborators. Collaborators on workflows have the same access you do as the creator. They can edit the workflow, they can unpublish it, they can delete it. So probably not too risky to give a teammate access to your workflow, but just know that they do have full edit access. And then the last thing we'll do here is publish our workflow. And you'll see it's ready to use. We're super excited. We'll click open Slack. And then if you look at the content review channel, you'll see a message posted by the workflow that I added it to the channel. And then we can select it from the channel and fill out our form. That's it. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, Olivia. So to round out for today, we want to make sure everyone on the line is aware and enabled on how to learn more. We encourage everyone to visit Slack's Help Center, take a peek at our template library, which is a resource inspired by both customers and partners, where you can find a workflow to customize for your own team. And then finally, take a peek at pursuing getting certified via a Workflow Builder badge.